discuss on how we're going to solve your quadratic equation, let's start with by factoring. So there are different ways in which we can solve your quadratic equations. So in this part, we're going to discuss on how we're going to solve them by factoring. So we can solve your quadratic equations by extracting the roots, by completing the square, or by using the quadratic formula. So to start off with factoring, you have to know on how you're going to factor your quadratic expressions. So here's a set of an activity on which we're going to match column A with column B. We have to tell on which where are the factors for each quadratic expressions. So let's start off with finding the factors with number 1. So that's F. That is, the factor is 2x times the quantity x minus 4. So we have to find the common monomial factor. Then, number 2 is also common monomial factoring. The common monomial factor here is 5x. And divide both the expressions by 5x, and what's left inside is 1 minus 2x. So numbers 3 and 4 are examples in which we can factor for either another way. So for letter E, that's x minus 3 squared. I hope you're having the same answers. Then number 4, the factor of 4x squared plus 20x plus 25, that is G. So 2x plus 5 squared. Then number 5, you have 9x squared minus 4. The factor of that is 3x plus 2 and 3x minus 2. That's letter D. Number 6, the factor of x squared minus 100 is x minus 10 times x plus 10. Number 7, the factor of x squared plus 8x plus 12 is letter C, x plus 6 times x plus 2. Then finally, the factor of x squared minus 10x plus 21 is x minus 7 times x minus 3. So how are we going to use those factors in our learning today? So we have to know on how to factor your expressions because that's how we're going to solve your quadratic equation. Okay, so here are the steps in solving your quadratic equation. First, we have to write our given quadratic equation in standard form. Just like that. So if our given is x squared minus 7x equals negative 10, so we have to rewrite it by transposing our negative 10 to the other side. So we have x squared minus 7x plus 10 equals 0. After that, we have to factor the given equation or expression. So you have x squared minus 7x plus 10. The factor of that, a quadratic trinomial. So we have to factor your 10, in which the sum of the middle term is 7. So that is 5 times 2 is 10. And negative 5 plus negative 2 is negative 7. So that's the factor. And if we already have the factors, we have to apply the zero product property. So if we're going to apply zero product property, we're going to equate both the factors to 0. Because if we're going to have one factor as 0, the product is also 0. So it's either one of them is 0 or both are 0. So we are going to have x minus 5 equals 0. And then x minus 2 equals 0. And then the last part is also here. If you already have the zero product property, the next is to solve the given linear equation. Since the given is just x minus 5 equals 0, so we're just going to transpose. So that is x equals 5 and x equals 2. And that is already the values of x using your factoring method. So if you're done with that, you have to check if the values are correct by substitution. So your given equation is x squared minus 7x equals negative 10. So by substituting the first given, which is 5, or the first solution, which is 5, we're going to have negative 10 equals negative 10. So the first solution set is correct. If we're going to substitute 2, we're going to have 2 squared minus 7 times 2 equals negative 10. So we're going to have negative 10 also is equal to negative 10. So our solutions 5 and 2 are correct. So let's have another example. What if we have x squared minus 10x plus 21 equals 0. So, you need first to factor this one. So, this is already in standard form. But if we're going to get its factors, the factors for this are, let's change first the color. So, the factors of x squared minus 10x plus 21 is x minus 7 times x minus 3. And if we're going to use our zero product property, x minus 7 equals 0 and x minus 3 is equal to 0. So by solving using under our linear equation, so x is equal to 7 and our x is equal to 3. So that is our solution, or that is our answer for this example. So the answer is x equals 7 and x is equal to 3. Okay, let's erase first that one. Okay, so x equals 7 and x equals 3. Let's try another factoring method. So we have 2x squared minus 18x equals 0. The question is, what kind of factoring technique can we use here? So that's the first question you have to answer if your given is already in standard form. So in this example, we're going to use common monomial factoring. So we're given with 2x squared. Let's show first our given here. We have 2x squared minus 18x equals 0. So we're going to factor out 2x. Then 2x squared divided by 2x is x. 18x divided by 2x, that is 9. Then by zero product property, both the factors 2x and x minus 9 will be equated to 0. So 2x is equal to 9. Dividing both sides by 2, so we're going to have x equal to 0. X minus 9 is equal to 0. So that means the value of x is equal to 9. Okay. How about we try another factoring technique? So we have x squared minus 9 equals 0. Okay. So we can factor this using difference of two squares. So if we're given with x squared minus 9, let's go back to the example. X squared minus 9 equals 0. The factor of x squared minus 9 is x plus 3 times x minus 3. Then we're going to equate to 0 both your factors, and then you're going to get the value of x by transposing the value. So the value of x is 3 and another value of x is negative 3. Let's have a quadratic, a perfect square trinomial. So you have 4x squared plus 25 equals 20x. So if we're going to transpose your 20 inside, okay, we're going to transpose first. You're going to have, let's annotate that one. So if we're going to transpose, you have 4x squared minus 20x plus 25 equals 0. Okay, so this is a perfect square trinomial in which we can factor the square root of 4x squared is 2x. The square root of 25 is 5. So the sign of our middle term is negative. Then squared equals 0. So if your given is a perfect square trinomial, there will only be one solution. So that will just be 2x minus 5 is equal to 0. So transposing our 5, we're going to have 2x equals 5. Dividing both sides by 2 because we just need the value of our x. So we're going to have x is equal to 5 over 2. So that is our only solution for this given example. So again, if your given is a perfect square trinomial, we're going to have only one solution for this. So the value of x is 5 over 2. Let's have a quadratic trinomial. So in here, in your given quadratic trinomial, if we're going to transpose this 40, you're going to have x squared plus 3x minus 40 equals 0. So we need to get the factor of 40 that when you subtract, the value or the answer is 3. Or when we add these two integers, the answer is 3x. So the factors of x squared is x times x. The factor of our 40 is 8, negative 8 or positive 8 times negative 5. So positive 8 times negative 5. So we are going to multiply 8 times 5, that's 40. Then positive 8 times or plus negative 5, that is positive 3. So that is our values or the factors of our given expression. By zero product property, x plus 8 is equal to 0 and x minus 5 is equal to 0. So if we're going to solve, x is equal to negative 8 and x is equal to positive 5. So that's how we're going to solve our given example. Okay, so let's have a quadratic trinomial wherein the value of your a is not equal to 1. So we have 3x squared plus 7x minus 20 equals 0. So let's use our AC method to factor this one. So this is already written in your standard form. So we can already use our AC method. So 3 times negative 20, we're going to have x squared plus 7x minus 60. So that's 20 times 3. So we need to get a factor of negative 60 that when we add, the answer is 7. So the factor of our x squared is x times x. So there are a lot of factors of your 60. So we need to think of just one factor that when we add, the answer is 7. So let's have an example of that factoring or of that factors. So you have 20 times 3, but when we add this on different sign, that is 17. Okay, and then we have 15 times 4. But if we're going to add them with different sign, that's by subtraction, we're going to have 11. Then another factor will be 12 times 5. Then if we're going to add this, we're going to have, okay, this will result to 7. So this is the factor that we're looking for. So since they are different sign, the higher value or the higher absolute value will be depending on the sign of our middle term. So it's positive, so we're going to have positive 12 here. Then another negative 5 on the other side. So let's erase the set of factors here. So if you already have the factor, so by AC method, we have to divide them with the numerical coefficient of our first term. So we divide both by 3. So 12 divided by 3 and 5 divided by 3. So the factors of our given 3x squared plus 7x minus 20 equals 0 is x plus 4 times, so this is not divisible, so we multiply it with our x. So that is 3x minus 5 equals 0. By zero product, x plus 4 is equal to 0. 3x minus 5 is equal to 0. Then we're going to transpose. So x equals negative 4. 3x equals 5. But we have to divide it by 3. So the two factors or the two values of your x here is negative 4 and positive 5 over 3. So here's how you're going to solve your quadratic equation by factoring, wherein your given expression have a value of a which is greater than 1. Okay, so I hope you learned something on how we're going to factor your quadratic equation here by factoring. So and on the next videos, you're going to show on how we're going to factor using our completing the square. So I hope we're going to see you on our next video.